Hey guys, it's Cece, and today I'm here to do a little bit of a pre-Christmas haul. So while I have been gone at school, a couple of publishers have contacted me, or I've won giveaways, and I've had all of that stuff sent to my house. It was just easier. I was running out of room at school, and I thought I'd be coming back here pretty soon anyway, so why not just let a few things accumulate here, which means even though I've been home for about 2 days, I have a reasonable stack of books to show you guys, and I thought I would get it out of the way before Christmas because I know for a fact I'm getting some books for Christmas. So we are going to jump in and we're going to talk about these. But first, before I left school, I also wanted to talk about a couple of the books I purchased there, but that I couldn't bring back with me because my suitcase was absolutely full of academic books that I need for my thesis. So before I talk about these books, I'm going to turn it over to previous Cece, and she's going to explain some of the books that I purchased back at school and a little bit more about those. So yeah, let's just go over to that Cece. Hey, that's right, back to me. So I have some books to show you that I did not take home with me, as I just said. Yeah, this has gotten more complicated than it needed to be. But let me show off some books that I have here that I have hauled in December so that you can still get an idea of everything that I have. So I thought I would start off with some books that have come in subscription boxes, and I guess I'm going to start off with Last Seen Leaving by Caleb Roehrig. This came in Bookly Box in November's Bookly Box, which is a subscription service. You can choose a variety of different genres, and there are lots of other cool things to do with the Bookly Box. You can check a link down in the description if you would like to go check out more. But Last Seen Leaving is a YA thriller. I think generally just like a mystery thriller, and I've had my eye on this one for a while because it is a queer release, and I have heard incredible things. Basically, it appears to be about this guy named Flynn and his girlfriend goes missing, and all of these questions are coming back to Flynn because as her boyfriend, Flynn should be the one to know a lot about her, but there is a lot more going on than that. He has some secrets of his own, so I'm very curious to see how this goes. Like I said, I've heard great things, especially from chats like Gay YA and general queer author discussions on Twitter. I've heard that this is really, really good, and so I cannot wait to read it, and I was so excited to see this in Bookly Box. The next book that I want to talk about came in Owl Crate's November box. It was an Alice in Wonderland theme, so of course the book that came was Heartless by Marissa Meyer. This is a cover you may or may not have seen yet. This was an exclusive cover that was only available if you got Owl Crate. But I'm actually a huge fan of this white cover. I think that it's really, really pretty. This is what it looks like all around. I think that it's just generally a really cool exclusive cover. Plus, in case you have not seen what this looks like under the cover yet, when you take off the dust jacket, it looks like this, if you were curious. And that is the same for all editions of Heartless. They all look like that under the dust jacket. So this book is supposed to be sort of a prequel story to Alice in Wonderland. It appears to be kind of a villain origin story for the Queen of Hearts. I'm really interested to see how this goes. I have really enjoyed reading the Lunar Chronicles this year, but this was such a cool thing that they did. I love that they did an exclusive cover. I think that it makes the book more special, so yeah. Very excited to have this one. Next up for me, at the beginning of December, I went to The Strand, which is my favorite bookstore in the world. It's a bookstore in New York City. I absolutely love it because I needed to pick up a book. And the book that I picked up was You Know Me Well by Nina LaCour and David Levithan. This was my most anticipated release of 2016, and it was on my list of books that I had to read before the end of the year. So I went and I picked it up so I could read it this month. And I did. I read it this month already. This book basically follows these two main characters. They've gone to high school together, but they don't really know anything about each other. And then the first day of Pride, they happen to run into one another at a Pride celebration, and they immediately become friends. Basically, it seems like both of them are going through really hard times right now. Kate is trying to make decisions about college, and then Mark is basically super in love with his best friend and doesn't know how to move on from there. Kate and Mark are both gay, and every single speaking character, I would say, in this whole book, besides the parents, is queer. Every single one of them. I will talk a lot more about what I felt about this in my December wrap-up. Overall, I wasn't that passionate about it. I just thought that it was trying really hard, but this does take place over the full week of Pride celebrations in San Francisco, and that element of it is really cool. It's a speedy book, if you're still curious about it, by a couple authors I adore, so glad I got the chance to read it, even though I didn't really like it. Anyway, those are all of the things that I have purchased at school that are not going back with me to my house, so I still wanted to share, and now I will turn the time back over to other Cece so she can talk about all the stuff that has been coming to my house while I was here at school. Bye. Thanks, previous Cece. I hope that you enjoyed seeing those books. It just felt like the easiest way to do this. So now let me jump in and talk about the books that I have here. And there are a reasonable number. So the first book that I want to talk about, it just made the most sense to me, is a book that I just barely got in December's Bookly box. I posted that unboxing barely yesterday if you want to go check it out. But the book that came in that box was Sun, Sand, Murder by John Keyse-Walker. I really messed it up for some reason when I was saying the name in the video, so this is a mystery type novel. It takes place on a small island in the British Virgin Islands, and it follows a police constable. It's a really, really small town. Nothing bad ever really happens there, and then one day a dead body washes up on the beach, and so this guy is put in charge of figuring out the next of kin so that the police can figure out where to go from there. But as he's investigating this guy, what he discovers is that he seems to not exist at all. So that's weird, and so he has to do a lot more investigating, try to figure out what's going on, get to the bottom of everything, all while dealing with a collection of small town, really quirky characters. This sounds like it could potentially be very up my alley. Like I said in my unboxing, it sounds like a more police-based version of like Doc Martin, the TV show. I'm really excited to check this one out. I think that it is really, really pretty, so I was glad to receive this one in Bookly Box. So the next book that I want to talk about, I actually won in a giveaway on Twitter. Heidi Heilig, she is the author of The Girl from Everywhere, which I have not read yet, but I'm still very interested in reading. She was doing a giveaway around Halloween, and I won the giveaway, and I won a book, so that's exciting. The book that I won is How to Hang a Witch by Adriana Mather. This is a young adult book. It takes place in Salem, Massachusetts. It follows this girl. She's originally from New York City, but she moves to Salem, and she is the descendant of one of the people responsible for the Salem witch trials, which does not get her in the good books with the group of girls called the Descendants, who are descendants of presumably the women who were killed in the Salem witch trials. So that seems pretty dramatic. Plus, it also seems like the main character discovers some kind of curse. She has to work with the descendants. Basically, anything remotely witchy, I'm willing to try out. I just am constantly looking for good witch stories. This was a 2016 release that was on my radar this year, so I figured I'm gonna win it in a giveaway. That's definitely the best way to try this book out. So this is now a book I own, and I cannot wait to see how I like it. The next book I have is actually something that I got in a books for trade type situation on Twitter. Someone, suddenly forgetting a name, I will leave their Twitter linked down in the description below, was getting rid of a bunch of ARCs, and so I grabbed one. She had a bunch of really like diverse books, and so I really wanted to grab a couple of them. I got one. A lot of other people beat me out before I got there, and that is On the Edge of Gone by Corinne Duyvis? Oh, I'm sorry. I will look up how to pronounce that after I film this. I've been really interested in reading stuff by this author because she co-founded Disability in Kidlit, which is a great website for, resources, for diversity representation in books, and a lot of resources for writing that representation. But this is really cool because it is an Own Voices story because the lead character has autism. It takes place in 2035. The main character, Denise, her mother, and her sister are all trying to get to a temporary shelter because there's this comet coming. It's gonna kill everybody. And instead, they happen upon a generation ship, which is going to leave Earth and hopefully become, like, the new foundation for society. And Denise is really concerned. Are they going to let her on? She has autism. Is that going to be a problem? It sounds like it's going to be really interesting. I've heard really, really wonderful things. And just finding Own Voices rep for autism is something that I've really wanted to do after reading a couple of other books that have autistic main characters that I've heard are not very accurate representations, so I'm very, very eager to read this, and I'm so excited that I got it in that books for trade thing. This has already come out. It came out March 2016, but this is an ARC, so yeah. I'm excited to read this. So next up, Penguin decided to treat me to some amazing Christmas presents this year, basically. Like, how sweet of them. They contacted me and asked if I would like to receive a couple of books, which I agreed to, and then they also sent along a box. So I'm gonna go with the box first because it's very exciting. So what came, I did not know this was coming. My sister called me and was like, there's this second package for you from Penguin here. I don't know what it is. It is a promotional box for City of Saints and Thieves by Natalie C. Anderson. So I'm going to pop this open and show you what's inside. So we're just going to pop this open. Ooh. Okay, so the first thing in here is a note from the editors, just about the book in general. Plus, I think there's some stuff about a giveaway, so that's very exciting. But what is in here next is this timer. So this book must have something to do with time or racing against time. I believe this says Tina's time runs out on January 24th, 2017, which is when this book is released. So that's like a personalized little timer thing that came in there. And then the last thing in here is the book. So like I said, the book is City of Saints and Thieves by Natalie C. Anderson. It comes out on the 24th of January. And this sounds potentially super interesting. It is a YA thriller. It takes place in Kenya. It's about this girl. Her and her mother fled Congo years ago as refugees, and they've been making their way in Kenya, and then her mother is murdered. So she goes on this like quest for revenge. It's like a 4-year quest, and she trains with like one of the city's gang to become a master thief. She's living on the streets. It sounds super, super interesting. I can't believe I hadn't heard of this at all. It's like a reasonably sized, good, thick book, and I'm super interested to see what this book is about. And I'm so excited that Penguin just decided to send this along to me because I don't know if I would have heard about this book otherwise. So yay. And then besides that, Penguin also sent me 3 other books. So the first one that they sent me is What Light by J. Asher. This is a YA contemporary about a girl named Sierra. Her parents own a Christmas tree farm. She's from Oregon, but every year on Thanksgiving Day, they drive down to California and they open a Christmas tree lot, and they are there for a month selling Christmas trees, but it's seeming like this year might be their last year. And then while she's there, Sierra also meets a guy named Caleb who has sort of a mysterious past, and she gets really invested in him. Yeah, that's basically the plot of this book, and the reason I know it's so detailed is because I finished reading it last night. I wanted to read this immediately. It's a Christmas story, and so I wanted to jump in and read it before Christmas happened. But what's really exciting, I don't know if you can see, this is a signed copy. So there is J. Asher's signature. If you don't know who J. Asher is, he also wrote 13 Reasons Why, which is a book that I absolutely adore. So to have a book signed by him is super exciting. Basically, this book plays out like a Hallmark movie. Like if you're into the Christmas Hallmark movies, which I very much am. I watch them obsessively in the month of December. Then I think that you'll like this. It's sort of a silly, dramatic YA contemporary, which isn't generally my genre unless it has queer main characters, but I enjoyed it. So super exciting that Penguin sent me this. They also sent me Brown Girl Dreaming by Jacqueline Woodson. This is a story in verse, I believe middle grade. And basically this is about Jacqueline's childhood growing up in the 60s and 70s as a black girl and how that affected her life, how she was trying to find her place, and obviously it comes highly praised. Look at all of the awards on this cover. I don't read a lot of books in verse, but I have been reading them like on and off my whole life, so I'm really curious to see how this one goes, and I was so excited that they offered to send me this book because I've been very, very interested in it. And the last book that Penguin sent me was The Reader by Traci Chee. This is the first book in the Sea of Ink and Gold series. I have heard a little bit here and there about this one, mostly talking about authors of color writing YA books, and I'm trying to support that a lot more. And so I really wanted to be able to receive this one and review it and talk about it more. Basically, this takes place in a world where there is no reading. They don't have books or anything. And it's about a main character. She's lived her life on the run, and then her father is murdered. So she leaves with her aunt, and they're surviving, and then her aunt is kidnapped too. And she finds this little rectangle. She opens it up, and she discovers it's a book. And she has to work through the process of reading, and it seems like this book holds a lot of secrets. Plus, there are pirates at some point. Basically, this book sounds incredible. It reminded me really, really heavily of Inkheart, which is a series I adore, but I'm always interested to read books about books. That's one of my favorite things. So I can't wait to read this one. It is so beautiful to look at. This book is just gorgeous, even with like deckled edges. I cannot wait to jump into this one. I'm very, very excited. I'm excited about all of these, basically, if you can't tell. So thank you so much to Penguin for sending me those books. They were very, very exciting to be waiting here for me when I got back. And yeah, that is everything. Those are all of the books that have been coming to my house since I was away at school. Okay, guys, there you go. That's everything. I just wanted to get this in here before Christmas and talk about all these books because they've been piling up, and I wanted to be able to make sure that I talked about all of them and I didn't forget anything in the Christmas, post-Christmas, whatever's going on. I hope that you found something new that you're interested in checking out. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you to previous Cece, and her little inserted part also got those books as well, besides these. Anyway, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in another video very soon. Bye!